Granblue Fantasy Relink is more massive than you think, and it is shaping to be one of the best JRPGs of 2024. The game continues to receive a positive reception from a majority of players who tried the recent demo, including myself. We simply cannot have enough of it because of its excellent visual fidelity and exciting gameplay. But in this video, I will be covering the things that the demo didn't show so far, or the other things that you probably still didn't know, like what endgame content would be, future updates, character progression, and more. So you will have an idea how huge this game will be, especially when talking about activities that you can do when reaching endgame content or completing the main scenario. And finally, you can decide if the game is really for you. Granblue Fantasy Relink's main scenario was designed to have a 20-hour experience, and it is relatively short in my opinion. However, it is not going to be the focus of this title since they concentrated their efforts on improving its overall replayability. Completing the main scenario and all the side quests will give anyone 100 hours of gameplay, but judging the directions where the game is heading, it will be much longer than that. Just like any JRPG, the player will be given the chance to progress and visit different locations when playing the main scenario. Each location will have its areas to explore, puzzles to solve, hidden treasures to find, you know the drill. Players can then easily go back to their previously visited areas to do unfinished business after completing the main scenario. If you are into solving hidden mysteries, exploring towns and cities, or even completing more NPC quests, you can easily get more hours from all of this. Moving on to character progression and customization. The majority of the things that we will be covering in here were unfortunately not shown in the demo. While the players are progressing in the story, their characters grow stronger. You will encounter a lot of fights when advancing and straightforwardly gaining experience and leveling up your characters. Judging from the recent livestream, the characters can reach as high as level 100. Let me remind you or tell you that we will have the chance to level up and customize 21 characters soon. So just thinking about this, if you are a min-maxer or a completionist like myself, you can easily gain more hours into this. Not to mention that each character has a skill tree system called Masteries, which remind me of Final Fantasy X's Spear Grid system, where players can unlock special nodes that provides more stats, possibly traits, and even unlock more skills in the process that makes your character stronger. Not only we will be following a traditional character progression, but the game will also allow us to change and upgrade weapons. We are going to have access to a vast array of weaponry, and each of them has its unique traits and stats. Upgrading these weapons will be a rigid process as it requires certain materials on every upgrade. Once the weapon reaches its level cap, players are required to find rare materials that can be found or obtained from the field or rewards from side quests. As far as livestream confirms, on the other hand, weapon can reach up to level 150, and this is massive. The main question would be, is this going to be the max cap for all the weapon upgrades? Regardless, this alone is massive since reaching level 150 for these upgrades will require dozens of hours. On the other hand, we are not going to have any armor sets in this game, but instead, we do have sigils. These are like decorations in the Monster Hunter series. Sigils can provide various stats and ability upgrades that further improves a character's prowess or even alter their playstyle. In the demo, we got to test some of the sigils in the game, and each of them provides certain upgrades such as more attack stats, higher critical chance, additional health points, and more depending on their tiers. Sigils can be obtained on the other hand from side quests or treasure chests scattered across the world, so it will take us a little bit of time to get the ones that we like for our characters. The next topic that I want to talk about is characters. At this point of writing, it is confirmed that 19 characters will be playable in the main game. But that's not all. Cygames will be releasing a free update this coming April, which they will add Siobhan and Teowen. It is crazy to think that soon we'll be having access to 21 uniquely designed characters, and each of them has unique playstyles and abilities. I cannot stress how huge this is in terms of replay value, since mastering a character will surely take time to get the most out of them. By just playing with the 10 available characters in the demo, on the other hand, it is clear that Cygames put a lot of effort into polishing these characters, and this has been one of their main focus when they developed the game. and I simply cannot wait to see other characters in the full release. So you have maxed out your characters and their equipment and put up your team and wondering what's next. It is time to talk about endgame fights or raids, and these raids, my lords and ladies, is where the fun truly starts, since this is going to be the hardest fights in the game where advanced players will be tested. In the recent livestream, Skybound showcased one of the endgame raids that Granblue Fantasy Relink can offer. The developers form a balanced and well-equipped team to fight the elusive Windworm, a dragon that can manipulate gusts of winds and tornadoes. What I want to focus on are the characters that the developers use and their equipment. All of them were raised to level 100 and have access to level 150 weapons, which is nuts. Plus, they possibly have the rarest sigils in the game, which are tier 4s, and all of them were fully leveled as well, which added tons of firepower to their setup. For their specific lineup, they used Gandagosa as one of the main DPS of the party. They also mentioned that Gandagosa will perform in this fight since he has access to fire elemental attacks. The boss in this fight is characterized as a wind enemy, so meaning fire elemental damage will be effective. Before we continue, I do want to mention that elemental advantages are more of a bonus in this game. The developers confirmed that yes, they have advantages in combat, but they much prefer that players will get to choose and use the characters that they want the most or their favorites regardless of the fight. The second DPS in the lineup is Yugen, a ranged DPS capable of dealing tons of damage while inflicting status ailments on targets. Not to mention, his element is Earth, meaning he will suffer more damage in this raid, but they still included them in the party, solidifying their idea to not focus much on elements. The next member on the list is Jita. She and Gran will share the same skill set in this game, and her main role is to provide damage mitigating buffs to the party while also providing a little bit of damage. She is the second supporting character to Cagliostro, which I will discuss in a minute. The main support and also the last character in the party is Cagliostro. She is incredible in terms of providing burst heal and even reviving characters from critical conditions. We all know how healers are so important in a party, so we need to ensure there's one, especially in tough fights like this. Now that we have determined the characters in their lineup, let us check the actual fight. As the battle starts, we can see that the party starts dealing big numbers to the boss. Despite dealing tons of damage, we can observe that the boss loses health slowly in terms of HP percentage. This means that in-game bosses will surely have tons of HP and they're not going to be pushovers, but instead, fights will be engaging. Let's remind ourselves that this team was pretty much maxed out in terms of gear, traits, levels, and so on. But notice that they are still receiving a lot of damage when getting hit by AoE tornadoes or by the boss itself. Jita, on the other hand, is trying to provide damage mitigating buffs, but the most noticeable thing here is Cagliostro. Cagliostro provides substantial healing to the party since they are continuously suffering from heavy damage. There were also times where she needed to revive Gandagosa from critical condition or the other party members. Just imagine if she is not around. Gandagosa, on the other hand, deals tons and tons of damage every time he does his charge attack, which is his unique attack. Yugen is no slouch, on the other hand, for dealing consistent range damage and inflicting paralyzed status effect on the boss. The fight also showcased one of the mechanics of this boss, where the party will have to avoid a swirling and rotating tornadoes in the arena. It was so fun to watch, and according to the developers, this is just a tidbit of what's to come, and a lot of amazing endgame fights are in store for us. I do have a big bonus for you, not to mention that the game will be receiving another free update in early March, which is the Lucilius raid. We also had a glimpse of this raid where we can see that the party was wiped out by laser attacks from Lucilius. Overall, what we can observe in all of this is how important party composition is, especially when tackling endgame bosses. Proper preparation is also required in terms of gear and skill loadouts. It is also clear that Cygame's main focus is indeed endgame content, so expect that we will be spending hours just to clear these fights, which will be the main trend at endgame. At this point, you already have an idea of how endgame content will be presented or what activities will be engaging in mostly. To sum it all up, players will select their main characters, master them in combat, raise them to level 100, get the weapons for these characters, hunt materials to upgrade their weapons, and lastly, equip them with the best sigils. I don't know about you, but judging this kind of loop, 100 of hours of gameplay would simply too minimal. From what I can see, 200 to 300 hours would be the minimum gameplay hours that we can get from it, especially since they are adding new stuff from time to time. That's it for me, and from your perspective, I want to know what you think. Is it overwhelming, or have you already expected this kind of endgame loop like me? And let's chat in the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy this kind of videos, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video as it helps me a lot. Now if you want more about this game, click the video here for my honest review, and I will see you on the next one.